I'm not very loud, I'm not a good writer, and I'm not really that great at speaking either. But it's really exciting to be here because the last 2 years we weren't really sure what was going on, and Mom's came through quite a bit of things, and it's really exciting to get to celebrate this with her and see your guys' faces. When Mom started this job for the Ninth Circuit, I wasn't much older than Kiva was here, and Mom started at my age, which is 44, and worked 32 years at this position, which I think is pretty amazing. But to think of starting that job at age 44 in, that season of life and being that committed to it is pretty spectacular. So we're excited to be here for you, Mom. And it feels like an end of sorts, because I'm sure this will be the last time I'm ever allowed into the federal building that I ran me all over when I used to run around, with soda and whatever, at one point in my life. So it's great to be here. When we first moved to Montana, my mom, we moved to Helena, and we quickly learned that Mom believed in family immersion in her work. It was late October with lots of snow, and Mom had to travel all over the state of Montana. She would rent a big station wagon, and my dad, who used to be an ice road trucker, would do all the driving, and my sister and I would hang out and would help Mom. And we traveled so much, my sister and I knew all the mountain passes by name. When we would get to the courthouse, my mom would take us in and say, "Girls, pocket cards," which my sister and I would help her with big boxes of library cards and whatever she asked us. At home, she would bring home the library cards and book pockets along with a stamp that read "Property of U.S. Government." Stamp everything, and we did, including each other. Even my 9-year-old grandmother would help us. It was pretty funny. She obviously wasn't concerned with child labor laws. And we would get to run around the courthouses, and in Butte, where the judge's bench, there was a bullet hole for the Prohibition days. My sister and I counted the gavel and called the order in the court. Obviously, there was nobody in there at the time. The first day that Mom went to work, she decided to watch Judge Lovell in court and have him swear her in for duty in open court. She sat on the bench outside the courtroom to wait. 2 defendants came out and proceeded to argue. Then it escalated into a physical altercation. Mom was the only witness, of course. The marshals discovered the breach and told Mom that she'd be questioned. She identified the culprit as a blue check cowboy shirt guy and brown shirt guy. Then he told the marshal the culprits were only rat fighting. Mom needed an official government picture for an ID badge, so the marshal stood her in front of the jail cell with the bars and took her picture. 1 year later, her boss, Elizabeth Knopf, awarded her QSI as a quality step increase in her pay, and Betsy wrote the following. In her first year as satellite librarian for the Montana District, Mrs. Fercho has made impressive strides in establishing the foundation for effective service to judges, law clerks, and court staff in the district, which had no on-site court librarian before Mom took the position in 1991. Betsy didn't use the word mom, I did. Her position is unique in the Ninth Circuit, as she's the only satellite librarian operating without a branch library collection. She has had to build a service foundation from scratch and establish effective working relationships with judges and court staff on a district not noted for collegiality. Her performance of these assignments has been outstanding. Judges, law clerks, and court staff throughout the district uniformly praise the support she has provided in recognizing and updating their on-site collections and meeting their requests for information and publications. To further enhance the services that she provides, she has established appropriate working relationships with the State Law Library in Helena and the University of Montana Law Library in Missoula. Judges and clerks who initially were unsure they needed a librarian in Montana now vie for her services and wonder how they managed previously without the help she now provides. All of them expressed confidence in her knowledge of legal information sources and her ability to meet the information needs. This high level of performance is characteristic of her approach to her duties, and there is every reason to expect that it will continue. Prior to Montana, Mom had taught both Lexis and Muscle at OCU Law School. Computers were in the early stages of legal research. Can you imagine that? Mom talked the Lexis company into giving her a small red computer. She took this around to the courts and demonstrated how it worked. She made her own instruction sheets. I remember her newsletter, The Circuit Rider. I offered my artistic skills a la Wells Fargo Moda hauling law books, but nope, she opted for a polished letter with the Great Seal of Montana pinpointing the federal courts, complete with a plane flying. We moved to Billings in 1994, and Mom explored her literary side. I listened to her many evenings discussing research on the phone with her friend in San Jose. They self-published the 100-page Navigating the Ever-Changing and Rocky Shores of Elder Law and Healthcare for the Infirm. Next came coping with the financial and legal problems after the death of a friend or family member in 2004 and transfer on death deed in 2006. During 2004, Mom researched and fed materials to Kari Hong, who was a law clerk for Judge Thomas. Kari published Parents' Patriarchy. Mom was noted in the foreword. This work has been cited 57 times in Google Scholar. I asked Kari one time, because I got to, if you guys know Kari Hong, she's a character, and I asked her one time, so like, what does Mom do exactly? And she, because, as somebody's kid, you just have a really random idea of them. And she said, what doesn't your mom do? She does everything. She writes contracts, she does budgets, legal research, and provides answer for law clerks and judges. We kids would listen to Mom regaling with stories of work. I remember her finding a note on the frosty car window early in the morning from the Freeman. She also hailed the Unabomber in a taxi as she was taken by the marshals in a white SUV down Last Chance Gulch in Helena. However, the next morning, at his initial appearance, she denied being a Ninth Circuit court employee to a newspaper from San Francisco. She said that she didn't want to talk to those people. Around 2014, the Library Division of the AO of the U.S. Courts interviewed 4 federal judges. This was their feature, Ask a Librarian. Judge Malloy was in D.C. and sat for the interview. The gist of the interview was that the Montana librarian was the only one in the U.S. who traveled 1,000+ miles in a loop within a week and brought materials to the federal judges. She did this several times a year. The results were front-page news in their June newsletter. In the middle of work from COVID scene, Mom wrote a manuscript, hired a videographer, and submitted her video to Catholic University for their contest in the work of federal librarian, and she won the contest.
Oh, nice.
They told her that it was the last sentence that really won their award. It was, class, find a job you love and you'll never work another day in your life. They still are using her video for the graduate class in their legal librarianship. I don't remember my mom ever taking a sick day or staying home. I kind of laughed because this last couple of years, Mom was really a trooper. She also said, I found my niche. This is my third life. She had been a teacher for 14 years and a school administrator in inner city Dallas schools, and that was when I was really little. Then the associate director of OCU Law School. This was really her third career, her third season. My sister, Dr. Kalina Fercho, is a brain neuroscience for the FAA. She interprets Baylor's medical jargon for my mom and helps her recoveries. I have a master's degree, but seem to be traveling those same roads and icy mountain passes from 1991 now and hauling kids and paintings all over the place. Our family has benefited from this move to Montana and our unique lifestyle formed all around this wonderful life, and Mom led by example. Thank you for listening.
A wonderful woman that Lucille knew and was a dear friend had told Lucille to watch out for me. Nancy had worked at the district court in California where I had worked the year before. Nancy and Lucille were friends, and everyone who knows Lucille can appreciate how important it was for me to get Nancy's stamp of approval in advance. Lucille is fiercely loyal and loving, but she will not waste her time or suffer fools. So I'm very grateful that Nancy opened the door so that Lucille would give me a chance. Because 20 years later, Lucille's kindness, wicked sense of humor, brilliance, and support have been a source of joy and light to me. When I worked with Lucille, I was always amazed at how her mind worked. I am not sure if she has a photographic memory, but when there was a legal research issue, she could find anything. Think of more sources and think of new resources that I did not even know existed. I considered her a magician. I did not waste her time, so I would always try to find something on my own. When I was convinced that nothing existed, I went to Lucille for help. And within 24 hours, I would have a detailed index of everything she could find on the topic. But also, outside of her professional gifts, I am most grateful for our friendship and who Lucille is in this world. Lucille is funny. Her humor somehow is able to be biting, but only when it is also filled with love. She also has the funniest stories. Lucille shares her love of adventure and appreciation for quirkiness. She's a careful observer of life, and when you are lucky enough to hear her to talk about things around her, it always leaves you feeling joy. Lucille is a fierce defender of her family. She loves her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. And within minutes of talking to her, she will talk to you about how much pride she has in their character and their accomplishments. Lucille is loyal. For all of us who have been lucky to become her friends, we know that she has our back. If we need anything, she is there. She will listen, and if she is asked, she will give you the advice that is 100% right. I am absolutely honored to have been asked to be here, but I'm also so happy that Lucille is being rightfully celebrated and honored. Lucille, you are someone who has made my life better. And I know that your love, your humor, your wisdom, and your kindness has provided the same source of joy and support for many, many others. I know you're retiring from your job, but you're not off the hook from sharing your humor and love with all of us who are lucky enough to call you friend.
Mike hiked out on us again. He always hiked. I wanted to make sure to note Mike. He's had my back for 19 years. He's the one that with the computer keeps me going, even during COVID. I have to say, whatever, I raised 2 good kids. I always say that. And I want to thank Judge Siebel for his help when I first moved over here, and all of the federal judges, because they always gave me the freedom to do my job how I wanted to. And I had freedom to write, to research, to travel. I liked it. And they let me set up library plans however I wished, and they would just feed info to me what they would be. I appreciate all the court staff that worked with me and especially these past 2 years. And now I guess we're on to new horizons. Thank you.
The District of Montana does have a couple things for you, so congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. First is a flag that has flown over this courthouse, so we'll give that to you in honor of your retirement.
Oh, wow.